Hello everyone, welcome back. So I am starting a new series for Oracle AI Agent Studio workflow agents, and series is going to be a very interesting one because in this series we are going to cover everything you need to know about workflow agents from end to end, starting from the overview to node by node deep dive to the real use cases. We will start from the absolute basic all the way to real world use cases. And here is what journey will look like across these 11 or 12 episode, because fourth episode will be divided into multiple videos. And then what we will do, we will start with episode 1, that is we will understand what workflow agents actually are, and then we will move on to the core design patterns which we have in workflow agents. And then in the next episode 3 video will give you the full picture of all the 5 node types which are available within the workflow agent, which we can use while building these agents. So this will be a summary video, and then in episode 4 where there will be multiple videos for each of these node, like AI node, logic node, data node, control node, and the communication node, we're going to do a deep dive like how we can leverage these node while building our AI agents. And then episode 5 will walk you through how we can design a workflow agent step by step. So we will take a scenario maybe within financials, and we will build a agent step by step just to see how that end to end works. And then moving on to the once we build that agent, we will do a evaluation and testing for that agent. And then we will also, my personal favorite, in last episode we are going to look at the real use cases which we can build in procurement, HR, finance, or in any other areas within Oracle Fusion. So whether you are an Oracle consultant, an enterprise architect, or someone just getting started with this AI powered AI agent journey within Oracle AI Agent Studio, this series is built for you. And if you have not subscribed it yet, hit subscribe so you don't miss any episode. And let's now get started with the episode 1. So just to before we go and understand what are workflow agents, let me give you a picture, right? So let's say you are in an enterprise or any organization, and every day let's say your team is processing the invoices, onboarding the employees, or handling the service request, or maybe validating supplier documents like purchase order, right? And these all processes which I just talked about, these are multi-step processes, right? They cross multiple systems, they have a specific set of rules and the sequence, and they have been running the same way for years, right? You may have built a workflow, maybe a traditional workflow, right? It works most of the time, but every time, let's say if there is some exception which comes in, right? Maybe missing field, or maybe a document in different format, it either breaks or there is something which we need to do manually to be able to handle it, right? So that's traditional workflow where we have pre-coded static logic. This is fast and deterministic because there is a process which is being followed. So that is a traditional workflow. There is no reasoning ability. When I'm saying reasoning ability, that means it cannot think that okay, this is the error and this is what I should do, right? So that's traditional workflow. It's fast, deterministic, zero reasoning ability. Every exception has to be programmed in advance, like because if we are facing this error, you have to do this. So everything needs to be documented, right? Or maybe need to be part of that code which we have written, right? And now, some of you might say, okay, that's fine, but we have another agent, maybe within AI Agent Studio or in the AI agentic world, like hierarchical agent or the supervisor agent, which we are. Those are powerful, right? And they can reason through ambiguous problems, explore multiple paths, handle open-ended questions. But here's the thing, right? Your invoice processing is not ambiguous, right? Your employee onboarding is not open-ended, right? You don't need a fully autonomous agent wandering around deciding what to do next. What you actually need is the middle ground, right? You need a structure, so you get predictable, auditable, governable outcome. And on top of it, you will also get intelligence, so it can handle the variability, the reason through exception, and know when to bring a human in, the human in the loop workflow, or the node which you might be aware of, right? So it automate everything, and that's where a workflow agent fit in. Okay, so what it does, it automates end-to-end business process the way it is meant to run, but with AI built in at every step. And the best part, 70 to 80% of the workflow fit this pattern exactly. We have known the steps, we have known rules, we have known outcomes. That means the output is deterministic, right? We know what we wanted to do, and we just needing a smarter engine to run them. So that's all the workflow agent. So this is the very sweet spot for the enterprises. We can have our specific set of the steps which we can have, and then we can have predictable outcomes. Here there will be open-ended reasoning. Reasoning will be there, but output can be, because these agents are non-deterministic. These agents are deterministic workflow agents. Now moving on to the next thing. So what actually makes them different, right, from any other category of the agents, like a supervisor agent, or maybe there are other set of agents which are not available in Oracle Fusion, but they're different patterns of AI agents, design pattern which we can build. So how they're different, right? So first, if you try to understand from look at from workflow agents perspective, so there are mainly six things, right? It is the best of both worlds, the structure and the intelligence. So first, they are very goal oriented. Let's take an example of HR thing, right? If you have to process a resume, the goal is hiring, not parsing. So what workflow agent can do, it can your process a resume and then at the end get employee created right after the interview is done and hiring process is done, right? So we can build a workflow for this. I'm giving no, I'm not saying we will be able to build completely within. I'm just taking one example just to show you that all these steps, there is steps involved, right? So we can have that goal oriented execution within Oracle Cloud. Now, second, if you look at end-to-end automation, so one agent can talk to the ERP and your external ERP, external API system, right? Maybe external HRMS system, right? Or maybe CRM system, all in single workflow. We do not need uh, other things to be able to combine it. We can build the external REST. We can use an MCP servers now, which the new tool which is available. I will talk about that in other videos. But so I'm just giving you an idea that there is a lot of things which we can do end to end using these workflow agents. Third is Lego block architecture. So we can compose the workflow using different nodes. These nodes I will talk in upcoming videos, but just to give, we can use multiple nodes, like we can use AI nodes like LLM node, right, to getting something processed. We can use logic nodes, we can use data nodes and the control nodes, like if we can put the if block or the node to use a condition that if this happens to this, if this happens to this, right, something like that. And then the fourth is human in the loop. So that is built in. Okay. And we can decide exactly where as human we need to put as a step, right? Where we want the human to stay in control, right? Maybe a high risk decision. Let's say we wanted to get assigned the employee the roles, right? And we just want the approval maybe from supervisor before we get assigned roles to a new employee or maybe existing employee. I'm just giving you a scenario, right? So we can put the human in the loop. This can be based on the chat or maybe from the email based. And the fifth one is the deterministic but flexible. You get predictable, auditable outcomes and the ability to handle the unexpected, not brittle, not chaotic. And the final one is async by design, because we don't run in one shot, right? We need to wait, right? We need to wait for some event to get completed and then perform the next step, right? And workflow agents can handle all these things natively, and that's the combination that makes them genuinely enterprise ready. So that's a quick introduction for the workflow agent, and I'm going to quickly show you how these workflow agents look like within AI Agent Studio before we end this video. So this is now I am in AI Agent Studio. So what I can do, I can go to the agent teams. I can click on a plus icon, and here there is a type which is called a workflow. So this is we are going to focus as part of this video series and how we can build this. Now, when we add workflow, you will look at a difference. Just wanted to call out that. So if I select supervisor, you will see there is limited set of tabs which are available. But if I change it to workflow, there is a trigger part which is added, right? And if I just change it to supervisor, trigger part is not there. And also question will not be there in workflow, but variables will be there in the workflow. Although variables will be there as well, but in workflow, your trigger and the error handling, global error handling part, both gets added. If you want to know more about the error handling, how we can do, you can check out my another video where I've covered how we can send a communication for the success and the completion of maybe error notification for the workflow agents. I will link down that video. You can walk it. But just wanted to give you an idea how workflow gets changed. We can add trigger, like we can add these three types of trigger, like a webhook trigger, email trigger, schedule trigger. I'm going to cover all these in a separate video, but just wanted to show you like we have these things which get added. And that's all for this first video. And as I was saying earlier, we are going to take a look into the second episode in the workflow design pattern in the next video. Thank you for watching.